Skipping one oil change won't grenade your engine today, but it can quietly start the wear pattern that does. That's the point no one tells you. In this video, we'll show how old oil loses protective strength, how a saturated filter stops catching debris, and how that creates microscopic scoring you won't feel until it's expensive. No scare tactics, just the mechanical dominoes that fall when you delay the one service designed to keep lubrication, filtration, and cooling working together. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. What changes first when you skip? Your engine or your oil? The oil does, and it stops protecting quietly. Modern engine oil isn't a simple, slick liquid. It's a blended system. You've got base stocks that set the backbone and a package of additives doing specific jobs. Anti-wear agents to coat contact points, detergents to neutralize acids, dispersants to hold soot and varnish precursors in suspension, and viscosity modifiers to keep flow consistent as temperature swings. That cocktail is designed around a service window. It assumes a certain number of heat cycles, a certain load, and a certain dose of fuel and moisture contamination. Stretch the interval and you run past the point where chemistry carries the load without help. Here's the conflict. On the dipstick, the oil still looks fine. It's amber brown, it hits the mark, it smells like oil. But under load, film strength is a different story. Heat shears, viscosity modifiers. Short trips leave raw fuel in the sump. The base oil thins, then thickens again as oxidation kicks in. Additives that make boundary layers, keep acids in check, and mop up soot get used up. So the oil that looks normal in the driveway can't hold a strong film at 5,000 RPM on a steep grade, or during a hot restart when parts are tight and speeds are high. Oxidation quietly thickens oil. Oxygen cooks the hydrocarbons at high temperature, creating heavier molecules and sticky varnish that clings to hot parts. Thickened oil moves slower through small passages and clings where it shouldn't, raising drag and trapping heat. On the flip side, fuel dilution thins the oil. Unburned gasoline or diesel slides past the rings, cuts viscosity, and lowers the hydrodynamic film that separates surfaces. That's worse during cold starts and high RPM, when the crank needs a strong wedge of oil, but gets a weaker one. Less film means more chance that high points on metal surfaces touch, even for a moment. Then there's the filter, the quiet safety net. When the media loads up with soot and debris, pressure builds across it. During a cold start with thick oil or a hard pull at high RPM, that pressure can push the bypass valve open. The pump still delivers flow, but now some of it skips the filter. The exact moment you need clean oil, you're circulating what's in the sump as is. Follow a single speck through that loop. A tiny carbon shard breaks loose from the ringland. Fresh oil with a crisp filter would trap it, but with hot, shear-weakened oil and a loaded filter flirting with bypass, the shard rides along. It slips through the pump rotor, runs the main gallery, and skims the thin film at a rod bearing. It doesn't gouge deep, it etches a faint line. The next pass, it finds another surface, maybe a cam journal, adding another mark. The film carries it because the oil is doing more transport and less protection. Boundary lubrication is the last line when the oil film goes thin. That protection comes from anti-wear agents like ZDDP that react with hot metal and form a sacrificial layer. When those agents are depleted, cam lobes and lifters meet asperity to asperity. You get microscoring that grows. Each tiny scar makes it harder for a smooth film to form next time. So heat builds a little faster, and the wear rate nudges up again. Small changes stack. Flow slows through hot bearings, so they shed heat worse. Varnish starts to coat ring grooves, so rings stick a touch and scrape less oil, raising consumption and blow-by. With fewer detergents left, what would have stayed suspended starts settling on hot surfaces and inside galleries, stealing headroom you can't see. Here's the payoff. Old oil carries less heat, oxidation thickens it, fuel thins it, and both hurt flow and thermal transport. Bearings and turbochargers run hotter locally, even while your gauge looks fine. And next comes the real hit. Those tiny particles that should be trapped keep looping, and the next stop is soft-bearing metals. If one particle survives the filter, how much harm can it do? More than you think, because it doesn't just pass once. Let's follow one. It breaks free as a tiny carbon flake from the ring lands, or a bright curl of metal from timing chain wear. It falls into the sump and waits in the swirl near the pickup. The pump pulls it in, squeezes it through tight clearances, and sends it down the main gallery. Flow splits. Some heads to the crank's main bearings, some up to the valve train. The particle rides the moving wedge of oil at a rod bearing, then drifts to a cam journal, then bleeds back through return passages to the sump. It doesn't retire. It loops again. Every second the engine runs. That skip service was more than fresh oil and a new filter. It was the inspection that finds a seeping intake tube, a loose clamp, a marginal PCV, a filter element starting to load. Without that reset, the filter you left in place sees cold starts with thick oil and hard pulls at high RPM. The pressure drop spikes, the bypass cracks open, and unfiltered oil moves through when the engine needs protection most. The checklist that would have reset the system stays undone, while the contaminant keeps getting more chances. On a microscopic level, that particle rides the film between two moving surfaces and bridges the gap. The film is thin, microns, so the particle doesn't need to be big to matter. As the crank turns, the particle drags across the soft overlay on a bearing shell and leaves a faint line. On the cylinder wall, it runs with the ring face and cuts a shallow score along the stroke. The first mark is light, the second is deeper. Each pass adds texture, and texture holds more debris. Here's a real-world moment where it gets loud. You've just come off a hot run and dropped to idle at a light. Oil temperature is high, viscosity is down, and the filter is loaded. Pressure dips. For a moment, the wedge at a rod bearing shrinks. The particle finds the gap and touches the overlay. The sound is a slight knock that fades as you raise RPM, but the mark stays. Later, on a cold morning start, thick oil hits that same loaded filter. The bypass kicks again, and the loop repeats when the engine is least forgiving. There's data that backs these loops. Used oil analysis flags elevated iron, aluminum, and silicon when wear and dirt get ahead of control. Iron ties to rings and cylinder walls. Aluminum often points to bearings or intake tract issues, and silicon suggests dirt ingress. A routine service would have pulled the sample, swapped the media, and reset the chemistry before those numbers climbed. Skipping once removes both the fresh filter and the early warning. Engines do speak. A faint tapping on cold start hints that lash adjusters aren't filling fast enough. A slight knock under load points to rod bearings, seeing mixed lubrication. A rough idle after heat soak suggests ring seal is down and blow-by is up.